Hi guys, my name is Manuel. I'm a musician and music producer for the past 2-3 years. And now I team up today with my friends of Music Bliss to bring you today how I work and how I use the Machine Plus from Native Instruments, which is a beautiful instrument. And today I'm going to give you an overview. I prepared 3 projects for you where I'm going to show you a little bit how you can use the things that are built in, like the step sequencer, how to enter notes, arrange track, and we're also going to show you a few things that you can do to perform with this instrument, which is like how to use the pads for finger drumming and how to create your routines. Also at the end I'm going to show you a finished track so you can see how powerful this is once you put all your ideas in and patterns into a song arrangement. So that's for the beginning. Now let's get into this baby and I'm going to show you how it works. Actually, one of the things that I love about this machine is like everything is hands-on with the hardware. I mean, I have access to almost every function. Every button has something that is going to help me to navigate. Like, for example, now I go to File, all my samples and all my projects are stored inside of an SD card. And now I can go to my project that I call Techno, because I'm going to show you how to do old style techno using this machine. And my new project is loading now. Actually, it's been loaded now, and I'm going to give you an overview of how this machine works. So basically, in this part of the left-hand side, we have what we call the groups. Think about groups like groups of tracks. So every group is going to have a different color. I can change the colors of those groups. So that's a great thing I can do here. I will put it back to orange because that's a reminder for me that this group is empty. Every group is going to have 16 different tracks inside of here. So every path can have one sound. Inside of each sound, we can put either a sample, an instrument, or we can also create effects, so we can use one of these tracks as a sound effects bus. So that's also very interesting. There is side chaining. We have a lot of plugins and instruments that we can use. One of the other things that I'm really stoked that we can use in the side of this machine is that we have not only the possibility to use, manipulate, and edit samples, but we also have instruments, like real instruments. So I'm going to show you now the built-in instruments. We have like a old style drum machine, and this is our kick. Now, the great thing about this is that it really reminds me of the old style of drum machines from back in the 80s, like the TR-808 from Roland. We have a lot of control inside of this, and also some other more engines. So this is a sub engine, so basically it's a sine wave. But something very cool is that I can adjust a few of the parameters, like decay. So now the decay is going to be longer and it's going to sound even like more deep bass. And we have some modulation as well. So this is going to bend a little bit. This is using what we call physical modeling synthesis. So it's like recreating drum bass, but digitally. So we can manipulate like how will the drum vibrate against something that is hitting it. So when I hit this, you can see that you can hear that now we are hearing some modulation, and I have some different attacks. I have a thick attack, noise attack, and I can set also more input or more output. I can tune. And now, if you have some good headphones or monitors, you probably heard that rumble, and maybe your neighbors are gonna start coming knocking on your door now. This is amazing because in the old ways, you will program your drum machine. What we're going to do here is like the step sequencer. So what I have here right now, I need to set first my pattern. I'm going to set the length just to 1 bar, because that way I'm going to, if I set it to 1 bar, it's going to be easier for me now. Now it's been here. If I hit play, sorry, I need to be on the right pattern now. This pattern has nothing. I go here, and let me see, step sequencer. And very easy, I just set one kick drum every 4 beats, and now I'm going to change the length to 1 bar. So, and I need to mute this guy. Yeah. So now we are listening just to the drum that the kick that I created, and I can adjust a few things globally for all of them. And now one of the great things is I can, if it's just 1 bar now, but if I want to, I can duplicate it, and now it's going to be 2 bars long. Okay, now one more great thing that we have here is that I can go to another sound. So now on the kick, now I can come here and I can add a snare. So on the snare we have a few engines. So it's a wide selection of sounds that we have for every of these engines, and all of them are going to have like some kind of parameters that we can adjust, like decay and the tuning and some compression. So for the moment I'm going to go to my step sequencer again, and I'm going to add a so if I hit follow now, I'm going to do it here again. And as you can see now, it's following what I'm doing. And very easily, I have just created something. Now I'm going to add another hi-hat. I'm going to do it on the path number 3. I'm going to go to my browsing and I'm going to select a cymbal. And on the cymbals, I have a few options. I have hi-hat or cymbal. So we're going to select the hi-hat. And basically in the old style drum machines, there was no like open hi-hat, like closed hi-hat like we have now in recent days. But you would adjust like that by using the decay. So you will be like closed hi-hat, open hi-hat. And that's how you would do it in the old days. So I'm going to show you now something very cool that we have here, and is the note repeat. So the note repeat is an arpeggiator that we have, and I can use it for my hi-hats. So now I'm using the arpeggiator and I'm doing in 8 notes. And as you can see, I have 4 buttons here, and these are like kind of macros where I can set the different timings I want to use. So I say, for example, in this button I want 8 notes, and here I want 16 notes. And now you're going to see what happens when I play this. This is 60 notes. So I can now come and hit shift and record. And it's already recorded. That's amazing. Now I'm going to show you the other cool thing that I think is very nice to know, that you have it. You have also like a shaker that you can use. We have some percussion, and the percussion we have fractals, sort of kettle, and a shaker. And the shaker have a realistic mode and a performer mode. In the performer mode, I just need to press, leave it there, and it's going to work. So basically, I just wanted to show you an overview of how to use the drum machine. Now I will go back to another group that I already created before, and I'm going to show you a pattern that I already recorded here, and I'm going to mute the rest of it so we only hear this guy. So basically, right now what we are listening, if I go to my path, I can show you I have a kick, a snare, I have a hi-hat that have something that is very nice. We have some built-in effects. So now talking about the effects, after the instrument I can come and put in this case it's a bit delay, as you can hear it now. I can, in the mix button, I can put it wet, completely dry or wet. That's without the effect. And now I can do it with the effects. The other thing that I have here is this kind of cymbal, which is like a crash I'm using. And also I have here another kick. Something very interesting that you can do is, like, for example, I have 2 kicks in this moment. And why do I have 2 kicks? Because there's something that is called sound layering, and that's something very interesting that I can do here. For example, in this link, it's linked to 1, but I put it linked to none. So now when I press this path, I have just this kick. But if I go to this, you hear this other kick is different, the sound is different. But if I would like both of them to sound at the same time, I just need to go to the group link and set it to 1. And any other sound or sample that is inside of the group 1 is going to be played at the same time I press one of the same paths of the same group. So now I have the kick, and the other kick is also playing at the same time, and that's how I can play and start doing more like sound design. And this is very interesting that you can do with this machine. The recording, everything has been done with the step sequencer. Okay. And now I'm going to show you something very nice, which is like we have a bass synth engine built in. So basically, when you get this machine, you're going to have some instruments from Native Instruments, and I'm going to show you how this one sounds. Let me see, I don't have anything right now. I need to create a bass line now. So we have our river going. One of the cool things that we have, because we have only 16 pads, you may think, how am I going to play like scales and stuff like that? Or it might be a little difficult. It's not like having a MIDI keyboard. Although you can use a MIDI keyboard if you want to play your bass line. You just need to put another MIDI keyboard here and you're going to be able to play whatever you want. But if you want to use only the pads, something very good that we have here is like we have some scales. So we have, in the main scales, we have the chromatic scales, we have major scales, minor scales, harmonic minor scales. And that way I can start like creating stuff easily, more easily. For example, if I want to use now, something very cool that we can do is also use the note repeat. And that way I can start like just jamming a little bit on a scale. So just go back here. I need to go back here and let's try minor pentatonic and see what we can get from this. One of the great things that we have here is that we have an arpeggiator. And with the arpeggiator and using the scales, I can try to create something very nice. So I will go back to my keyboard to see in minor pentatonic. So I will try to build something from that. And I will now play with the arpeggiator and see what I can get. So I'm using 8 notes now. I will launch my pattern that I recorded before. And it's sounding great. Maybe I can try 1 octave up. I can go back, lower 1 octave down here. And if I'm not feeling it, I can always change the scale. The one that always works very well is the minor scale. So we're going to do something with the minor scale now. And let's go back. So I found the bass line and I'm going to record it. I'm going to hit shift. I'm going to have 1 bar before and I'm going to be able to start recording. And I just need to make sure that I set my pattern correctly. So my pattern is going to be 8 bars. I'm going to shift and clear everything that I did before and then go to start over again. And activate. So now I have a bass line going on. One more thing that I wanted to show you is, if, for example, you want to create a new section now, I can go to my pattern now. I recorded this on pattern 3. I can create a new pattern now, and as you can see, everything has been clear. So now I have a new empty canvas where I can create another bass line, probably for a B part, okay? So as long as I am in the minor, and also I'm using C minor, because the C here is going to be the one that is going to tell me that I'm using C, but I can change that if I want to. I can do any root key that I want. Now, what I'm going to show you, something very cool on this new pattern that I'm going to create. I'm going to set it to 1 bar, and we have something in variation that is called probability. So what I can do when I go to random, okay, is that I can tell him like from where to where I want to create a baseline. Let's say from C2 to C3. And I can even do it like, I know I didn't use any other nodes more than G, so I can go to C2 to G2. Let me see here. And I hit apply now, and it automatically created a baseline for me. It's a random nodes based on some certain parameters I define on the probability. Let's hear how it sounds. And I think it sounds great at the start. If I don't like it, I can hit apply again, and it's going to randomize the notes again. If I like it, I can leave it on this pattern 4 and maybe create a new pattern 5 and create a new one. And so let's go again to variation and hit apply. Okay, I need to, every time I create a pattern, I need to define the length. So I will do it again, variation, and now it should be able to. Now that I created the baseline, I can switch from pattern 5 to pattern 4. And now one of the great things that I have here is like I can start creating something like a break. And maybe the snare, I can mute it too. And that's how you start creating your performance. One more thing that we used to do in the old days is like you will grab the hi-hat and start changing the decay. And I have some effect here. Which gets me to the last final point that I want to show you on this video, that is we have something very cool, which is some macros and some log states. So a log state, basically, if I undo everything I did with the sound, it will sound like this. The hi-hat was sounding like this, okay? So now I'm going to press lock. When I press lock, I'm telling machine that I want to lock how the sound is at this moment. And I can start creating changes. And when I hit lock, it go back again to how the sound was. So that's something very cool that we can do with this machine. And at that moment, I can start creating more. Let's do it again. And I'm going to hit on mute at the same time I hit on lock. And that's how I'm getting back to where I was before. So basically, once you start working on your routine and your locks, you're going to see how you can use them to create different moods into the sound or into your performance. Now, the last thing I want to show you is the macros. So we have some macros here because, as you saw, sometimes when you change by sound, every parameter is dynamically changing. So if I hit a hi-hat, I have the hi-hat decay here. Now, if I hit the kick drum, I'm going to have now the decay of the kick drum here. So if I wanted to go into every instrument and grab the decay or everything, it would be a little complicated. So that's why we have the macros. So the macros is something that I want, for example, I'm going to hit macro and shift the macro to set the macro. So now I go to my sound, and when I hit Shift or macro, I can now just click on decay, and it's already been added. Now I will do the same thing for my snare. I will Shift macro and hit the decay, and maybe also the noise and the amount. When I hit macro now, I have 3 options here for my sound. So this still works on the sound basis, but let's say that I have this this is my snare. I need to unmute it, right? So now I just created some macros where I have like hands control exactly to the parameters that I want, and I don't have to navigate through all of the other pages. Sorry, I forgot, there is something very nice I need to show you as well. The bass synth is just a monosynth. So basically, if we go back to the monosynth again, because I really think that I didn't spend too much time showing you, the monosynth is going to have just one oscillator, like that has 3 different shapes. So the shape is going to come from kind of a sine wave, going through a square, and then showing it like a sawtooth, okay? Now we have some options here, like 1 or 2 octaves. We have a filter. So maybe I can show you a little bit how we can play with this. I'm just playing with the cutoff, the resonance, and the envelope amount. I have some drive where I can distort it even more. And that's a monosynth, which means that I can only play 1 note at a time. Now I'm going to show you the polysynth. There's also a polysynthesizer here, which is based on kind of a old Native Instruments plugin, which was called the Pro 5B3, something like that. So this is kind of based around the Prophet 5 kind of a structure, okay? So I'm going to unmute this track right now. I'm going to show you how this works. So now that we have a polysynth, we can create chords, and that's where the chords enter here. And how they sound that great is because I'm using the scale mode. So every chord is going to be inside of the scale when I create chords. And let's see how I will sound with our bass line. Okay, so one of the great things that we have about the polysynth is that we're going to be able to create chords, we're going to be able to create arpeggios, and also it has like many notes that we can use. And I can show you a little bit the sound design that we can use. One of the great things that we have here is that, for example, I can use the mod wheel to add some modulation. And I can also use the pitch bend. And that together with the chords, it can sound very great. So the polysynth is very powerful. We have up to, I think it's 16 voices that you can use, but also watch out on your CPU usage, okay? Especially on the Machine Plus. Now, oscillator A and oscillator B, they can be sync, and we have also a noise oscillator. And now it's sounding like very analog style. I hope that you have a little glimpse into how we can use this machine. I know that it's not very in-depth because actually this machine is very capable, and that's what I like of it, that there are many different ways to do whatever you want to do with it. So one of those is like the next video I'm going to show you, which is going to be like how to set up groups and find loops inside and samples inside of the machine, and how you can start like creating your own performance and using groups to create different ambiances. So that's what I'm going to do now. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please hit a like if you did, and if you have any questions or any comments, put it there, and I will try to answer with my friends of Music Bliss. I'll try to answer this for you guys. Thank you.